easy champion. So we'll see if he tries to stick to something like that, or maybe go back to the Akali that worked out very well for him in game number 1 against FPX yesterday. As again, NIP, as you said, on the blue side, because they dropped that first game, you can see a little bit differences in terms of the bans now that we are in game number 2 of that Fearless format. No Rumble and Gwen to worry about anymore. The Lilia taken away from Beichuan, that's been a very big pick for him. And then we see a Yorick away from Bin. He's been very good on this and actually has played it in basically all of their recent series.
Yeah, I see Yorick banned, I see Lilia banned, and I see an early Scion. No surprise here. Bin will have his choice of counter pick, but it will not be that Yorick that he has been enjoying of late, as you highlighted, Grapes. So curious to see if it might be a Bin Camille or something else. That said, will be a Beichuan Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao feels like the stat check winning jungler at the moment, as he has been really big in the jungle. Beichuan gets a power pick yet again.
Curious to see what they pair this alongside Knight with. I feel like Xin Zhao, you get a fair amount of decent options in that mid lane to, try to match a little bit of what we saw with that Pantheon Talia in game number 1. It's going to be the Kai'Sa, though, early for Elk, a champion that is very popular in the LPL, very popular between these two bot laners in general, but Elk has a lot of good times on this. That's going to be the 1-2 punch that BLG opt for here.
One of the few ADs that can actually get through with Scion, too. Also can dive past the Scion. With that being taken so early, though, wondering if we just get a bot lane slammed here for NIP. They feel like they can play something into the Kai'Sa. Definitely an option for them. If you want to grab a AD counter to Kai'Sa, likely going to have to grab it here before it gets banned out. As we might see Leave actually just snag that champion before we head into the next round of picks and bans. But of course, before we do, Aki will get his hands on the Wukong too. As it is going to be a Leave Zeri.
Oh, interesting. It's been rising up a little bit more. Now we're on the Spirit Blossom patch. Those lanes are extended a little bit. You could play the Enchanters, the double ranged, and that's something that the Zeri very much enjoys. So with the big beefy front line we already have here for NIP, think of something like a Lulu or something along those lines, probably being banned away by BLG in the second phase. As we see an Ornn here for Bin, does decently well into the Scion, and then again, those big team fight ultis are always going to be important.
Yeah, Scion will have push in this matchup, so I do think that is important early on. Overall, I favor Scion a little bit in this, but of course, Ornn, get the big team fight ultimate, can give some ornaments, so value here in the tank v tank matchup, but it is Scion that early on should actually have the advantage if played correctly. So see if Solo Kill is able to do it again. Since he has joined NIP, that was our story coming into the day here, Grapes, right? NIP looks much better with Solo Kill. BLG is not yet to drop a series with Beichuan, so we're going to see if that could continue today, as they have at least gotten one game closer to that. As at the moment, a lot of millionaires being taken away, and again, always feel like that kind of favors Doinb at the end of the day, because it feels like there are champions that Doinb hasn't shown yet that he's still able to play, and frankly, curious if we see his Victor here. As that has been a champ that he's definitely leaned on, and going up against Xin, Kai'Sa, Ornn, those lasers, that ability to poke, create some space could be valuable for him and his team. Already has that big meatball in the Scion to play behind.
Very curious that BLG did not ban away the Lulu from ppgod. Zeri Lulu has been a combo in all regions that has worked out very well. It's normally that champion that is typically associated with the Zeri, but seems like they believe that NIP could be going some other directions here, as the Ahri and the Rakan are taken away by Ninjas in Pyjamas. Still need a mid laner, still need a support. Imagine they try to lock up something that can fit alongside the Kai'Sa for Elk on this 4th pick. The Leona would do some good stuff and provide a little bit of extra long-range engage. Or we can get a little funky with it. I mean, it's on, so we know that Blitzcrank's always available.
And the Blitz would really dissuade a potential Lulu pick, but I think it just has to be Leona if you're going to blind it. That said, okay, going to blind mid. It will be Knights. Orianna has the Xin Zhao to play with, but curious now if we get Doinb, a potential Azir and a Lulu setup here. It could be quite big. Also, the Akali, I got to say, there's no real hard CC that Akali has to worry about at the moment. So this looks like a really good setup for Akali. I just think that usually you have Zeri likes to play with an Enchantress. I think that might be a little bit tough to take now for ppgod, but if possible, ability to play off the shields is quite nice. Also, a Braum isn't bad here. I could easily be the pick for ppgod. Pretty easy for Zeri to proc the passive. Plays nicely in the Xin Zhao. Can also stuff that Call of the Forge God by shielding backwards.
You think it was any mental damage that On was trying to do or that Elk was trying to do by hovering the Blitzcrank? Like, don't pick an Enchanter. I'm going to lock this in. on 5, and so you get the effect of like banning away the Lulu maybe a little bit as well. Still waiting for On, as he is on that R5 pick. The Elise is not something we've seen in a long time, so I'd be very surprised if that gets locked in.
Yeah, I was thinking it could be Elise. I actually wouldn't mind that, but instead going to be Poppy to try and at least scare Akali a little bit with that steadfast presence. Again, the crowd control, in terms of Akali, a lot of it's conditional at the moment. So Akali very happy when that's the case and she cannot get shut down. So I think there's a real chance to attack the side lanes if you're NIP and Doinb. Again, this Akali-Orianna matchup, really big if you can attack the Orianna in the side lane. Wukong can help you combo to line up that shuriken flip and make sure that you're able to connect in the side lane if you are Doinb. But if you aren't able to get ahead in that aspect as Akali, will of course fall off later on into the tanks. So I think BLG's comp, they're going to scale nicely, but a chance for NIP early on for me to really start to get some big leads. And kind of curious if this one goes out on it. Of course, both teams do have some scaling aspects. I just wondering how valuable Doinb gets to be later on if he doesn't get to ahead in the game. I think that's really where my concern is at if I'm NIP.
It is a lot of comfort, though, for Ninja Pyjamas. I think most notably, you know, first of all, Aki on the Wukong has been one of his most played champions. Solo Kill has played Sion in basically every single series that he has participated with here with this Ninja Pyjamas squad, and has been one of his better looking champions, even though his name is Solo Kill, and he's probably not getting a lot of solo kills on this big beefy tank. But in general, he's had a good time on it. Curious to see, you know, another game of Doinb on the Akali. He looked good with it on the matchup against NIP, or against FPX, but of course, very different team that he's now playing against, very different player he's laning against in Night. As Ninja Pyjamas, they're continuing their road through this second round robin. They're currently sitting at an even record 2-2 in this second stage. However, they're still going up against Bilibili, who are the strongest team here in the LPL, at least in this second round robin phase, and they're up 1-0 in this best of 3 onto the Rift for game number 2.
Wow, actually, Leave starting with the Cole going into this Poppy lane, understanding that, of course, with the Braum, Poppy has really no options to actually go in or engage. I mean, you go in as Poppy and enjoy catching a winner's bite, and then all the hands that come after that. But I think that's really telling. Also, do like the fact that Elk has decided to take Ghost this game. Again, don't think this lane is going to be extremely interactive. I think that Ghost sneaking back into the meta, there have been some games where Ghost is very appropriate. I actually really like it for this one. Can really help you buy some space against Sion. Like after the initial R, you pop the Ghost as an AD, you feel really good, able to play around him. And don't think that Cleanse is real value this game. So between that and the Quiet Lane, I think it's the right game for Ghost. I'd love to see some of our ADs snagging this Summoner spell again, because it's very abusable in the right game.
And you know, a guy like Elk, he loves to glide. He can really pop off in these team fights. So having that Ghost is going to potentially add for some extra highlight potential, as well as we prepare ourselves in that laning phase for that potential situation. Again, we don't imagine the bot lane to be super explosive early because Braum is such a neutralizer into what the champions on BLG do have in store. Ooh. What we do see is Aki navigating himself towards an invade on the enemy blue buff, and it looks like he's going to be able to pick that up relatively easily with Beichuan still on his Krugs.
Yeah, of course, Doinb, he did snipe out that first ward and saw the second one drop by BLG, so given they saw where those wards were placed, Aki was able to take that W and actually hop around it. It's really nice to see early on.
And there's that interaction you were talking about. Yeah. With the ongoing in, it results in that stun immediately connecting. It was a Ghost pop for Elk and a heal pop for ppgod.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that's going to keep this lane kind of close early on is that just the fact that it is a Cole versus a D-Blade, but BLG has to be careful because Elk and On, they haven't seen Wukong hit the Raptors yet. They have information, so maybe they think Wukong's sort of topside, but they don't know where he's at, and he's looking bot as they're going to be in trouble.
Knight popped onto ppgod. He's 200 HP, but leaving. ppgod flash forward at the exact same time, and now that leaves On out to dry. No flash even used because he knows he's down. It's NIP with first blood.
Yeah, they give it over to Aki, too, so he's at least able to get involved in the fight. Beichuan gets the bad news. His blue buff is gone. So he's going to be able to snag the Raptors away in response, but it's a nice early path and early win for NIP.
And that means Beichuan's able to pick up a little bit here with a steal away of the Raptors, but in general, Aki's feeling very good about where he is right now in this game. An almost assured 3-quadrant here of Beichuan's jungle. And that means that it's an early lead for Ninja Pyjamas, and that's a very good start here for our underdogs in game number 2.
Just like how they manufacture that one again. Zeri Braum, like that is a strong lane. I can understand the early trading into the Cole, as D-Blade gives you more sustain than the Cole as an item, and obviously just stronger early on, but good turn from Aki. He definitely sets up Lee for success, who again was pretty big in that first game, and speaking of set up for success, rotated here up top to catch a big stacked wave like this one from NIP. Will be really good for solo kill, as he's able to get back out on the map. And you can see BLG, they're doing the cross-country mile to try and get back here, as Elk had to reset and then go find leave. And frankly, NIP could just do this again once to get that top wave in if they really want to, actually play the Dragons. So would love to see NIP rinse and repeat the swamp, get their bot lane back to bot, and try and take the early Dragon here against BLG, as they're trying to run their bot lane around the map here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we don't normally see these lane swaps this early on in the game, but the exception is when, you do have a Scion kind of on your team, and you can put him in that 1v2 or just put him in a situation that, he generally feels comfortable in no matter what. And that allows for NIP to have a lot of agency in terms of how this early game does function. They're going to get the push here, and then I guess we will see if they decide to swap their bot lane back and get them positioning around the Dragon. As Bin is able to do pretty well here in this lane against the Scion, and
he's
does have himself a
overachieving.
12 CS lead.
I'm a little bit pleasantly surprised by Bin here. I mean, obviously Bin, one of the best players and laners that we have in the LPL, but he is ahead of where this lane should be.
I was going to say, actually, because I play a decent amount of Scion, I don't love this matchup into the Ornn. The brittle procs, they really do hurt. You can also cancel the knockup of the decimating smash with the Bella's Breath, and so there are win conditions here for Bin, especially now.
We got 6.
That he has that Fahal the Forge God.
Aki was looking, but I think 6 is enough to actually deter him. And yeah, I mean, so far Bin's doing a good job. I think that the Scion, like early on, you should be able to find some of these decimating smashes. You can actually cancel the dash at Ornn too, so there definitely is some skill in this matchup. But yeah, Bin's been doing nice work, and we're gonna try it here.
Oh, flash a little bit too early for solo kill, and Beichuan's able to dash in under the tower, pick up the first kill for Bilibili Gaming, and Bin was tanking tower aggro the whole time, able to dash out with the Searing Charge and make sure he goes out without any blood being shed.
Very clean there, as Bin able to guess the flash to solo kill, gets Beichuan involved as well as he picks up the kill on the Xin Zhao, and Bin making this tank v tank matchup look easy.
Yeah, and now any possibility of a solo kill, going for solo kill, kind of out the window, as you lose that window pretty easily now that Bin is even further ahead, already picking up a cloth armor alongside that Balmy Cinder. He's actually headed right back down to the bot lane, so looks like BLG are content with leaving the lanes in the position that they are at this point, not the fact that the grubs are coming up relatively soon.
Yeah, again, they swap back here, just helping enable Aki, the fact that he can take this Dragon now, so will be numbers advantage on the bot side. And yeah, I think Bin sees solo kill top, getting the bad news, and just going to back off this one. This ppgod jumps over the wall to help out Aki, and BLG and Bin going to see that this Dragon, not going to be there. It's going to go over into the hands of NIP.
Oh, now Bin might be caught out a bit. He's going to take a little bit of peppering here for leave, but he can walk out all so nicely, as the Dragon, as you said, was secured by Aki. I think overall NIP playing a decent early game so far, but the gold lead right now in favor of Bilibili Gaming, as Beichuan has done a good job of being able to keep up and farm ever since his blue buff did get stolen away.
Do you like what we're seeing here out of NIP? I think that Scion in the 1v2, definitely a little bit happier than Ornn, just given the matchups. So, with all this going on, though, Doinb is starting to get peppered down in the mid lane again. Orianna, very strong laner, and Knight, of course, very strong control mage player in his own right. But this mid lane's been rather uninteractive here, and I feel like it has just helped Knight win over time. As Doinb going to eat the shockwave and going to have to make his way back into the mid lane, as I believe Knight has successfully forced him out with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be lit. Leave us pick it up.
That's a big timer, because again, look at the clock, 8 minutes. First spawn of grubs, only spawn of grubs is now available, and Doinb has to go back to base without a teleport, so could be a situation where, if you are Bilibili Gaming, you could try to start this up or at least force a fight, but Beichuan's actually the second one here to the play, as Aki is the one to begin the damage dealing onto the Krug. Looks like was able to secure that first smite. Getting some nightmares back to when Beichuan was just winning every single 50-50, but this time
they won this out.
Aki's able to get one.
I think they're going to win this out. Aki, he doesn't have a smite coming back up, but this is a little bit funny. Of course, Doinb is showing bot. It looks like they dragged Bin on up, so I lied. They don't win this out. It's BLG that's going to win. But hey, Doinb gets a free lane to himself in the bot lane, so it's not like NIP get nothing for it. 2-for-1 grubs for BLG. Doinb going to get a couple points.
Yeah, and at least Aki's able to pick up one on that one. Again, it looked like it was going to be difficult after Knight chunked Doinb out, forced him on a pretty bad back timer that resulted in BLG having generally control around that top side of the map once Bin rotated over. However, Doinb's looking for something here now, knowing that Knight does not have that shockwave. He flashes forward, does not go for that second proc of the public execution as On shows up at just the right time.
Yeah, if he took it, it would have been a poppy there, and that's trouble. Meanwhile, blue buff may be started on a ward here, so BLG knows, and Beichuan on. Oh, look.
Nice, another 50-50. Zaki does have this
smite.
Actually, looks like Beichuan didn't have it, so
yeah,
he does pick it up. Another steal away from Aki. Beichuan not having a blue buff this entire game so far.
I think ppgod 6 definitely added to the fact that BLG didn't want that fight, and nice part for NIP, just the fact that Doinb, he got that wave in. This wave bounced back, so actually killed a couple waves of creeps across the map for BLG. Does have a small lead now in the favor of NIP.
Oh, hold on. Do you see Leaves gold lead right now? How did this happen? I mean, I guess it's just like the swaps kind of coming in.
Yeah,
so
got the kill.
He's 3 or...
He completed the Cole. Again,
yeah,
he started with that first
it.
item Cole, so at 102, that's got to be it.
Dang. Power that early income really coming to fruition for Ninjas the Pyjamas is now an engage. It's happened in the mid lane. On already at half HP. Cannot use that charge forward because its steadfast presence was in hand. And that does buy enough time for the Poppy to escape. Teleport comes in here for Knight. And that forces Aki to flash on out.
Couple Sunder spells burned there as Aki and On lose their flashes. But at least Knight having the TP. Again, side lanes can be fixed here for NIP. I really think now that attacking Knight, like the value of that is just going to go up as we get into this mid game and a couple of these outers fall. If you want to play a Cubby into Orianna, again, if you leave that lane in isolation in that laning phase, the way that we saw it, Orianna will start to accrue a lead. But this is the point of the game. Once Knight gets into the side lane as the Orianna, this is where you want to send Vi up there, or in this game, a Wukong. Like the common places where we do see a Cubby is when you can really punish Orianna in that side lane, because of course, is a pretty immobile mage. With her only access to mobility really being that W on herself. So definitely something that I want to see NIP, Doinb and Aki just focus up on and attack, because I think that is their way to play out this mid-game.
We saw it almost work in the side lane.
Yep.
When Doinb initially went for that all-in onto Knight between the two turrets, but was not able to find that full kill, and that does mean that overall, Knight's still feeling pretty good about himself, at least at this point in the game. We're about 20 seconds away from this Infernal Dragon from spawning, and so that looks like it could be a focus for NIP. They're sending Solo Kill back to base right now. We'll see if he redeploys somebody somewhere other than the top side of the map, as Aki and the rest of Ninjas Pyjamas look like they are at least first to this play if they want to, with ppgod setting up some nice vision in the enemy jungle of BLG.
And again, Knight, he is shown down here, so I think On covering Knight and hovering him a lot during this game actually has been really good for BLG. But Doinb, he's going to look. Nice isolated.
Shuriken flips forward. Oh yeah, On just does not run the same way as Knight. He waits for the flash beautifully, and Doinb will pick up the solo kill. Now on the bottom side again, it is going to be the Cyclone Pop. It is a teleport coming in for Bin, but here comes Elk, and here comes BLG. It's a double kill for the Kai'Sa, the Killer Instinct, but now Leave has arrived. He pops the Lightning Craftsman, a two-man searing charge from Bin is massive. Elk picks up a triple. He's looking for another one, but solo kill is still massive on the front line, and Leave is going to get another kill for himself. It's a battle of the bottom laners here in game number 2, as Leave and Elk both become huge after that team fight.
I think we might get a second bloody game on our hands here at Grapes, as NIP, they do win out on the skirmish, just given that Knight was eliminated immediately by Doinb. And it was a good turn coming in from Bin and Elk, because again, we get the replay, but You called the Grapes. Knight and On, they had to retreat in different places. I don't think On could have joined Knight there, but just that small split. Doinb plays that out really nicely. But it's Beichuan that really has the turn here with the help of Bin as well. The TP placement from the Ornn was really solid. Doinb burned as much time as he could trying to get out of that one. Elk with the reposition is able to get the front to back again and takes 2, but solo kill a little bit too big at this point on the Scion to hold the line. The double knockup from Bin was really nice. Able to pick up the kill onto ppgod, but Leave was the one that was ahead in the items on the Zeri, and Scion being the stronger tank at the moment was enough for NIP to at least have the man advantage in the back half of that bloody fight. But of course, no objective fell, and we're right back to the scene of the crime here, Graves, as BLG are going to take this one down. They're outnumbered, though.
Oh, no, he doesn't! It's Aki this time that wins out on the Smite fight! And now another fight can erupt here as Beichuan gets knocked up by the Scion Q, and Leave picks up his 4th kill of this game number 2. So this time the steals going towards Ninjas in Pyjamas, going towards Aki, as Leave picks up a kill onto Beichuan on the back end of things. And now Doinb's looking for the solo kill onto Bin. The Shuriken flip does not connect, and that means that the Ornn will survive.
Yeah, if he landed the E, I do think that Doinb actually takes the kill, so Bin able to live. But hey, Doinb's team, they won without him on the bot side of the map, as Leave looks to be the one stepping up this game on the Zeri Grapes. Both ADs very fed in this one, going for the same build too, as it is going to be that crit Kaisa for Elk. And this might just be a marksman off here.
Yeah, Elk saw what Leave was able to do and says, hey, I'm going to try that too. He picked up a call for himself. He just completed it, and so both marksmen looking like they are in great places right now in this game. Runon's now unlocked for Leave. That is a beautiful second item for him, as these team fights are going to become very scary for BLG.
I will say that, like, with Zeri, kind of the modern day Zeri after all the changes, and they tried to balance her out a little bit. When you dash in, when you pop that R, your shotgun, it needs to be big with the fights, with the Runan's Hurricane as well. We'll see if Leave's able to do that. I think the one really good thing for NIP is that really the only thing that outranges or out-interacts Leave is going to be that Shockwave, along with the Ornhorn. But hey, as the Zeri, you should be able to get out of that one, right? Whereas Shockwave just have to be careful. You have to hold on to that dash, hold on to that E if you want to have a way to play out of that one. Where BLG kind of returned to live, the game that we have now. Of course, Herald on the map, and BLG, they've burned Knight's TP and are on it as solo kill.
Yeah, oh, wow, look at Elk, or look at Knight, I should say. He gets one shot by the all-in combo, and Aki gets another one. He's stealing them left and right here in this game number 2. Doinb teleports into the fight and picks himself up a double kill. Ninjas in Pyjamas just get 4 for free.
I mean, Scion, hot soup coming through, man. Connects on tonight. The soup spills all over him. It's a disaster here for BLG. Is it made for a very clean fight for NIP? And again, that shotgun, that initial ult from Leave, it was big. No one was deterring or detracting him from autoing throughout the fight. Now, all of a sudden, NIP, complete control over this game, Grapes. They're going to get mid-outer to fall, maybe top outer as well, and that's a 5K gold lead.
I was wondering even if Doinb was going to teleport to that fight at all, because he was going to take the bot lane tier 1 turret, but now you get 2 for the price of 1, plus 4 kills. Very worth it for Doinb to utilize that summoner spell. As we take another look at this replay, Knight just gets completely 100-0.
Yeah, it hits the Scion, the Keeper's Verdict, as Knight melts, and again, Bin does his damnedest to create some space in this fight, hit that 4-man call of the Forge God, but it just didn't matter. Beautiful fight from Doinb in the back half as he TPs and gets 2 for himself. That fight was all Ninjas in Pyjamas, Grapes.
And remember what we were saying, Cubby. We think that BLG are the favorites. Remember, they've won 5 series in a row. But NIP, they've been the ones to challenge some of the teams at the top recently. They took a game off of Top Esports. It looked like they were in a position to maybe win that series. They 2-0'd Weibo. They just are coming off of another win against FPX. So their record, their resume, looking pretty solid as well. And they are in a great position to make this a 3-game series.
They have been a lot feistier with solo kill in the lineup. And I agree, in position to make this, at least at the moment, go to 3. Still think it's really important that Doinb on the Sakali able to continue to find these sideline plays. Going into the Ornn, not the matchup that Doinb wants, but with the help of his friends. Maybe looking to make quick work of this turret. Doinb TP is going to have to find a way out of here pretty soon, as Bin at least takes a pretty solid chunk, and that's going to at least help ensure that the turret hopefully falls on the next wave, but BLG reinforcements have come to try and deter that.
I think a little bit of a break. I want to go back to that last fight on the bot side around that dragon where there was a really fun interaction in that 1v1 that Doinb had against Knight originally. When he was initially under the tower, he had that second proc of the perfect execution. He used the rocket belt to dash forward, and that baited Knight into flashing away.
Yep.
Because he saw the dash coming in. That's like a really fun micro play that Doinb was able to execute on there. He's got the hand still, it looks like.
Yeah, of course, that own quote from Doinb was admitting that early on in the season his hands may not be as good as they once were, but continues to show, at least in this game, that he's still got it. I don't think I ever questioned Doinb. Of course, Doinb is our humble king in the LPL.
Yeah,
and our fun
MVP.
king. Yeah, do love to see Doinb, of course, having fun on the Rift, and it has been a little bit more fun for NIP with Solo Kill in the lineup, as they have looked a lot better as a unit, and frankly, Solo Kill a lot better as an individual compared to Shanji, who might have trouble getting his seat back, as the Herald has been dropped mid. The inner is crashed upon, and that buys a lot of space for NIP to try and take down this dragon.
Ocean Soul Point on the line if they can collect this one. And it's Beichuan who's going to try his best to enter the pit. Oh, Keeper's Verdict takes away ppgod, so it's a 45 at least for a little bit. And that means that NIP are going to peel away from this one at least temporarily before they go for the re-engage. There comes the Sion ulti. Beichuan goes forward, but the shockwave is flashed away from my leave. And that's a big cooldown that BLG no longer have in their hands. As Solo Kill picks the kill up and on. Beichuan in a terrible position as Leave gets himself yet another kill in this team fight. And that means that NIP can pick themselves up that soul point for free.
Yeah, BLG really kind of stuck and split on that approach. I think that's a good call, Grapes, as you saw Knight and Elk on one side of the fight, and Beichuan and On being focused down on the other. Also been not even able to fire off that call. The Forge God can't blame him because, of course, the pressure from the Unbreakable just canceling that outright. Definitely something he has to be worried about. As Knight still has Flash, it looks like NIP might be fishing for that, and potentially Elk, as they at least kind of threaten in posture, but just forcing them off is, oh man. Another Otacon started on spawn. I gotta say, this could be a little bit dangerous. Otacon does a lot of damage early on, but BLG's still low. They've delayed Knight's base, so he can't base and TP back. That might just be enough to buy space and actually secure this one for NIP.
But Bin is here. He teleported forward. He has to call the Forge God. They're going to try to find some sort of miracle steal, but it's smited away by the side of Aki. And now NIP going to be on the reset as they want to try to get away with the objective being secured. Really nice cancel from Solo Kill, and Decimating Smash prevents that steering charge from coming through, but the call the Forge God coming out. Gonna at least take down the Sion most likely, but the Sion is still gonna live. ppgod saves the day and allows for NIP to get out without losing a man.
Oh, does his best Hordor impression there as he holds the door for the tank in Solo Kill. Will lead to the bot outer turret falling, but man, your NIP, you cannot complain about that. 6.5k gold lead still remains intact. You just picked up Ocean Soul Point and Otacon off the back of that too. As NIP this game, Grapes. Again, BLG we really have seen with Beichuan them have a lot better early games and a lot better direction. It feels like NIP, I think game one, they took the early game comp. They made some good plays to get a lead, but BLG had better answers later on. This game, NIP, the way they played out the map, it's been really sound, and it really was just a bot lane lead and some decent moves from Aki that has opened up a great lead for them against a BLG that has been a little bit disconnected approaching these fights.
Yeah, it started with that level 1 right at this area of the map. The blue buff here for Beichuan. He's going to get targeted again, and it looks like that's going to cause him to go down once more. Beichuan dies. It's Leave picking up kill number 7, and Knight's going to go down all the same. A double kill for the Zeri, and Ninjas and Pyjamas are running away with this game too.
Oh, that ult from Beichuan. It kind of pushed Aki into Knight and helped spell his mid laner's doom as NIP, Grapes. Again, this BLG with Beichuan, it really feels like the team that was almost promised at the start of the split, or a rebound to reclaim a form for Bin and Knight, especially of late. And man, this game, I mean, BLG just had never really gotten into this game, man. Knight has been kept out of this game completely by Doinb and NIP.
Yeah, and a huge shout out to Aki again, who has been so monumental for this game on the Wukong. Invades left and right, team fight engages, and, you know, big step up for him. I feel like overall in Ninjas Pyjamas team, like, Aki's been pretty terrible at times, especially during their rough stretch, but seemingly with Solo Kill coming in, a little bit of a change to the roster, and, you know, everybody on NIP kind of stepping up, vibes maybe being a little bit better. Aki, I think overall playing very, very well in this game, and kind of has been overall in the second round robin.
Definitely been better for Aki. For me, he's really a player that's needed to step up. Because, of course, if your mid laner is Doinb, that's kind of a jungler's dream. Going to make your mark in a league. Aki has not been the best at cashing in on that opportunity. Doinb very much a mid laner that is willing to play for you as a jungler. Can be nice. And Aki done a nice job of playing for Doinb and the team. And the Wukong in this game, again, a lot of jungle picks were taken away, banned out early, trying to get a worse matchup into Beichuan Xin Zhao. But Aki has ran with it, and I think that early move, that early gank bot was really significant. Helped NIP get that lead in the bot lane, and props to Weave and ppgod. They've ran with it. Done a really nice job this game.
And now we take a look at the game state overall. We mentioned during the draft, Cubby, that BLG, they generally can scale pretty well into this one. We have Elk, who can maybe burst a Scion down on this Kai'Sa once he picks up a couple more items. We have Bin with the ornaments. But it feels like we're a very long ways away from that at this point, as the gold lead is nearing 8,000 at 24 minutes. So, I mean, there's still avenues for BLG to stay alive here, but the threats of kills right now, just really non-existent from the current item states and the champions that are currently on this NIP team, or this BLG team, I should say.
Yeah, just we have synced spawns here. Pretty rare we see that our timers 100% synced up here on the top of your screen, Grapes. Baron and Dragon spawning here at the 25-minute mark. Of course, Ocean Soul on the table. Gotta imagine for... Oh boy, solo kill.
Yeah, there goes the Roar of the Slayer into that ultimate for solo kill. It doesn't find the knockup on the knife, and the decimating smash whale. And in comes Doinb. He Zanya's the shockwave and make sure he does not go down, as Knight is the first casualty in this fight. And Doinb will kick another one on to Beichuan. Down the mid lane, NIP go. They will at least be able to secure themselves the Ocean Soul and maybe even look for more.
Good game, NIP, man. Start to finish. This has been a clean win for NIP, Grapes. Again, really impressed and pleasantly surprised by our squad here. BLG, the team that has been undefeated, or series score-wise, since Beichuan joined. And I know that NIP, it was a frisky series they had against Top Esports. Game 1 against BLG didn't look too promising. This game 2, again, they got a lead early on. They've done a great job of running with it and playing out the map. NIP had looked damn good in this game. And game 3 likely to be bound here, Grapes. I think this just spells it as solo kill. The shout was enough. Got the slow on the Knight. Knight has flash up, but the pinch from Doinb just had him in a really tough spot. Knight didn't burn flash there. I think that was the mistake. He's going to die with flash still available. I think he had to flash out of the decimating smash there or rejoin his team. Was never able to get it off, and the pinch from Doinb and NIP was sound.
And again, the predictive Zanyas, knowing that the shockwave would be immediately issued by Knight as soon as he came out of crowd control of that knockup, making sure there is no possibility of a turnaround here for Bilibili Gaming. However, this Baron could be a little bit risky. Even though NIP are 8,000 gold up, they're going to look for the fight instead of the flip, and that is exactly what they should do. Bin goes down as Leave picks up yet another kill, and Doinb flashes forward, force the killer instinct out of Elk. Solo kill flashing over the wall. NIP looking for the throat, but a shockwave is going to buy some time for Knight. The Cyclone second proc will be issued onto the Ariana, and as you say, no opportunity for any sort of kills for BLG.
ppgod with a flash zoning Q. They're trying to keep Beichuan out of there.
They're feeling themselves.
Yeah, but again, just not enough damage for BLG to get through this Ocean Soul. Doinb going to be hunting down the Poppy here as this Baron take is slow, but NIP making sure it's secure as they try and zone out the enemy smite.
On lane's stun, but it's only on to Leave. Beichuan dashing forward, trying to find a knockup onto Doinb. He gets canceled up here by the W of Poppy. It is forced to go golden. Elk could be able to find himself a kill, but the Baron is picked up right now by NIP. And Elk is down. A double kill for Leave. And now it is just Bin and on alive as NIP can push down the mid lane with Baron in their hands.
I mean, good luck getting through this Ocean Soul Scion. And again, NIP doing a nice job of controlling the lines, realizing they have Ocean Soul that can be on the map forever. Just kind of play that one slow. Guarantee that the Smite cannot get in the pit as they get the Baron. Only lose El Capitano and their mid laner, Doinb. And they're going to be happy with that. Pushing down mid. And again, NIP, like, just how much better they look with solo kill in the lineup. It's wild. Because as you highlighted, it almost feels like some of the issues that Aki's had have started to go to the wayside. I still think that it's been a weaker split for Aki, but we have seen a couple of better games in split 2. And it just feels like overall, I don't know if this roster's in a honeymoon phase or if their top laner is just that much better. It feels like a combination of both. The solo kill for sure has been an individual upgrade. But man, NIP looking like a much more competitive team, a little bit closer to the form they had in Split 1, where again, they were our best team before we hit playoffs.
I mean, so far, you know, that battle of the super subs that we highlighted at the start of this series really coming to fruition Game number 1, Beichuan combining with Knight on that Pantheon Talia combo, doing a ton. Now, it is going to be solo kill on the Scion that's setting things up, but Doinb is going to be able to do some work as well. Oh, maybe a little bit too far forward. We are feeling ourselves too much as Doinb dies and dashes straight into a 1v4.
At least I saw a leave smile on the player cam. That's a good sign. But yes, that's why the Poppy was taken. It was to interrupt the Akali. Not able to connect there for Doinb.
You know what? We can have some fun now in this game if you're NIP. You're up 12,000 gold. I was going to say, in general, this is cleaner than any of the games that Top Esports played against NIP. Even the win that NIP had against them. One of the cleaner games we've seen from this team overall, even though they have been able to pick up wins here or there. A lot of the time it comes down to some big flips around team fights and the like, but it's been top to bottom, start to finish domination for Ninjas of Pyjamas as Doinb, he thought Elk was alone, and he definitely was not.
Surprise! As, you know, when you're up this big, sometimes you just gotta limit test, Grapes. I don't think there's a way that NIP can lose this game. I think it would take a miracle or 5, as there is no heal cut on BLG to get through this Ocean Soul. And again, I just don't think enough upfront damage in a game where it's tank v tank. Ocean Soul gets a lot stronger. You can play around it if you're able to burst, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to burst.
There's solo kill. Coming in through the flank. A 3-man searing charge come out of the shockwave is big, though, from Knight, but that's a lot of the damage that is already in the kits of BLG. And Leave is now has the opportunity to pop off. Penta. It could be. It could be. No, it's not a Penta, as Doinb will steal him in the last 2, but a full house, as you like to call it here on the LPL, as NIP pick up a full ace for themselves. They're going to even up this series at 1-1.
Yeah, that was one big Zeri, no Enchantress needed. Just a level 3 gank from Aki to set up bot lane for success. Leave and ppgod ran with it, as you gotta imagine that's gonna be a pog for Leave. Rewarding some of the boom damage there on the Zeri as he put up a damn good game, and NIP pushes to a game 3.
And they take down the roster that has been undefeated in match score in the second round robin, that being Bilibili Gaming. They were undefeated in their last 3 matches in terms of games as well, but that's not going to be the case here against a team that is currently situated in 9th place in the LPL Ascend group standing. So very big win for them if they could pick it up here, as they are trying to claw themselves out of that basement in Group Ascent.
Yeah, and I gotta say, NIP, you want more games like that. Aki was solid, had a nice creative path and helped get himself and his team a lead. Doinb able to snowball in the side lane too, like actually utilize that counter pick of the Akali into Orianna. There was some good focus from the team in order to be able to attack that. And I think hindsight 2020, taking the Ornn in the Scion matchup and then giving away the Braum too, you have to be really cautious firing away those Call of the Forge Gods. You saw some R's not come out or just be immediately canceled by ppgod on the Braum. And that tank matchup, it was a solo kill, just straight up win, right? They went down a little bit in that early lane, but the usefulness of that Scion versus the Ornn, the Scion was much more useful and helped his winning bot lane snowball much harder than what Ben and BLG were able to do.
Yeah, and again, solo kill on this Scion has been such a big pick for them since he has come back into the roster. I'm going to take a quick look at the stats just to see what the history looks like. I think he's like 3-1.
He's now 3-2 on the Scion with that 5th win, so big time.
He's played it in almost all their series so far, and it's looked very good, even in some of the losses, right? Just setting up for his team, and solo kill, again, such a big piece of this NIP roster coming in, replacing Shanji, who definitely was struggling alongside Aki, but it looks like maybe NIP solved some of their issues with this last-minute change for the second half.
It feels big again. Solo kill, a straight-up individual upgrade. The team looks upgraded as well. As regardless of the top laner, they're playing better as a group of 5. I know some of the rumors behind the scenes were that this team wasn't really gelling, and there were going to be changes being made. Solo kill being the first one, and frankly, might be the last with how NIP is playing. Again, that series against Top Esports was good. I thought their Game 3 draft was actually really tough to play in the Top Esports. They managed to make it close thanks to some big plays from solo kill. As, oh boy, 40k damage being dropped by Leave. That is a boom reward if I've ever seen one.
You know, I love what Aki was able to do this game, but if you don't give the player of the game to Leave this time, I think the fans might be trolling a bit, unfortunately.
It's boom damage time, yeah, sadly. Yeah.
What is that, 12? It's a math. 1300 DPM here in this game. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. I think we'll take that if we Leave. Again, damage percentage too. We're gonna see that next graphic, probably above 40. Zeri, you can get those big damage numbers going, but hey, start with that Cole in lane, found the early Yuntals, found the early Hurricane, and again, really cashed in on that lead as the Zeri Braum ended up being a pretty good pickup and a nice win for NIP.
And if you are Bilibili Gaming, I mean, that was probably one of the worst losses they have taken in the second round robin. I don't remember exactly, like, going match for match, but
they were not in that
hard
game.
to beat that, as they never really looked like they were in contention at all, as you mentioned. There's a little interaction we saw between the mid laners in the fight that really broke this game open.
And probably the only game that I've seen Knight just get straight up gapped, too. I cannot remember a game where he's been gapped like that. Knight, again, really not able to get into that game or play it out that well. It was NIP that were much more valuable, and Leave the one that really took over that game. So props to Leave, props to NIP. Again, Leave continues to be an AD where it feels like at times we aren't thrilled about Leave's play, or like it's just okay, and then other times he has games where he does show that he can be that pop-off marksman, at times looking for more consistency when it comes to positioning. But his positioning on this area that was Thanos doubles up ahead, he drove that lead home successfully. This was a great flash here, getting out of the combo from Knight and really taking away any chance of a BLG win in that fight up front with his flash and his DPSing the front line down. Was really well played.
I mean, you said it. The performance from Knight this game was not one that was reminiscent of a player of the week from just the previous weekend of games. Knight not really finding any really big shockwaves until it was far too late, and getting caught out like we saw here multiple times.
Yeah, I think not burning the flash again. Like, you got a flash over there. You got Doinb collapsing. It was an easy pinch coming in from him on the Knight and BLG, as Knight did die with flash available in his inventory for that fight. Just a couple uncharacteristic mistakes from one of the GOATs that plays in the league at the moment. So we'll have to see if he can bounce back for Game 3.
Yeah, and, you know, Aki kind of having the better end of things against Beichuan as well, starting from that level 2 invade, and Beichuan never really looked like he was able to contribute much after that. Again, the new jungler for BLG, not having the best performance here in this game number 2. But we have seen BLG, you know, with Beichuan on this team, drop some games here and there. They end up coming back. You know, you think of the first series that they played against Weibo to start off the second round robin, and then kind of going on and on from there. So the bounce backs have existed. We just need to see it really come to play here in this game number 3. Thankfully for BLG, they should be back on blue side, and I think overall they'll be happy with that.
Yeah, and again, blue side has been the side, right, for LPL, as that, I think, very fair to say that blue side is an advantage going into these drafts and series. So have to see how they're able to use it in the next game. Again, I think that draft overall, that Sion first pick, the Ornn answer, you can play that tank in the tank matchup, but man, once bot lane gets flipped around like that, it can really lead to some grim results, and NIP felt like they just snowballed the game from that moment, as boom boom damage is rewarded grapes. Nice pog here for Leave as he gets the MVP and put up a hell of a score line to get there.
5,000 gold ahead of his opponent at the end of that one, as even though Elk on the Kaisa got kind of similarly strong in that big team fight around the bot side, it was Leave who was able to do so much more with that and allow for Ninjas and Pyjamas to even up our series at 1 and force a decider in our first series of the day here on LPL English. Who's going to take this one? Will BLG continue their perfect run through the second round robin of Split 2, or is it NIP going to pull the upset card off, as they are again looking strong with solo kill back on their roster? We'll find out in a couple of minutes. We'll be back with the draft for game number 3 after this short break.